Good morning, student. Welcome to the live lecture of real analysis 2. In the last lecture, we have seen the proposition regarding the operations of integration of, rather, a Lebesgue integration of a bounded measurable function. In detail, we have seen this proposition. Okay. Now, in today's lecture, we were going for an important theorem called as bounded convergence theorem. Let us have a look to the statement of this bounded convergence theorem. The statement is if the sequence fn be a sequence of measurable functions defined on set E of finite measure, suppose that there is a positive real number capital N such that mod of fn of x less than or equals to m. What this statement means, mod of fn of x less than equal to m means, may I say each fn is bounded, right? No,
Yes,
each
ma'am.
function fn is bounded. Therefore, what this fn is actually, this will be a sequence of bounded measurable functions, right? And we have seen one lemma: measurable, a function is measurable implies and implied by it is integrable. Therefore, again one can call this fn to be the sequence of Lebesgue integrable functions defined on which set E of finite measure. Okay, then if limit n tends to infinity, fn of x is equal to f of x for all x in E, then our aim is to prove that integration f is limit integration fn. Limit integration fn. Now, what is the meaning of this statement? Limit n tends to infinity, f of x is equals to fn of x is equal to f of x for all x in E. May I say this sequence is pointwise convergence?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this sequence gives me a pointwise convergent sequence, right? Then this is what given, and our aim is to prove this part. Integration f is limit integration fn. Now, in order to prove this result, we were going to make use of Tigorov theorem. Do you recall the Tigorov theorem? I think everyone is remembering. Okay, if the sequence is pointwise convergence almost everywhere, then there exists a set A. I'll write the statement in short here. What is Tigorov theorems? Okay, there exists a sequence Fn, okay, which convergence pointwise. This is pointwise convergence almost everywhere. Almost everywhere. Then there exists a set A such that measure of this set is less than eta and Fn converges uniformly on
On
E
E
minus
minus
A.
A.
Good. That is almost everywhere. Now, on E minus A means what? This is going to be uniformly convergent on E almost everywhere. Okay, therefore here it is same point is given to us. Fn be a sequence of bounded measurable function which converges to F. Converges to F means here it is a pointwise convergence and F is bounded measurable function, right? Because as Fn is a sequence of bounded measurable functions, one can say that F is also a bounded measurable function. Therefore, by Egorov theorem, which theorem? By Egorov theorem, for every epsilon greater than 0, there exists a set A such that measure of A is less than eta. This eta we have selected particularly to be epsilon upon 4m, and this is purely an adjustment. Okay, so one can write here eta also, and one can change it accordingly as per the requirement of the proof, right? Then may I say Fn converges to F uniformly on E minus A. What is the meaning of Fn converges to F uniformly on A? E minus A? Mod of Fn of x minus f of x less than some positive quantity, and the positive quantity we have written to be epsilon upon 2 times measure of it. Generally we are writing epsilon only. Now what is epsilon? Positive number. Therefore it is true for every positive number, no? Therefore one can say it is equally true for epsilon upon 2 times measure of E. What is measure of E? E is given to be a finite measure. Therefore may I say m of E is finite?
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, m of E is finite given, means it is not given to be 0. This is something value having some value finite. Measure of E is finite. Therefore, this is what we have written. Again, this is just for the sake of adjustment. Okay, you may know this, why this was written as epsilon upon 2 times measure of, right? Now let us consider. Actually, our aim is to prove limit n tends to infinity, Fn is equal to F. Therefore, let me start considering modulus integration fn minus integration here. May I write this as integration fn minus here? Because previously we have proved it. Integration f af plus bg, no? Integration af plus bg, what we have proved?
A into integration F plus B into integration G.
Good. This is a integration af plus bg. We have proved a integration f plus b integration g. Therefore, I can say this is integration fn minus f. Okay. What about modulus of integration? This is always less equal to integration of its modulus. This is also we have proved in that same proposition, right? Now, let me just try to write this E, whatever we have assumed, as union of two parts. Actually, A we have considered as a subset of E, no? Whose measure is less than the term. Which term? Epsilon upon 4m, right? This is less than epsilon upon 4m. Okay, now I wanted to write this E to be the union of two disjoint sets. Which two disjoint set? This, if this is A, what about this remaining portion?
E minus A.
Yes, it is E minus A. Therefore, may I write this set E as a disjoint union of E, A and E minus A?
Yes, ma'am.
This is what here we have written. E written as E minus A union A. And we have proved integration. Correct? Integration, which symbol I think F we have used. Integration A union B, if A and B are disjoint sets, we have proved this as integration over A of F plus integration B, integration F over B. Therefore, may I use the same because this is also a disjoint union, no? Therefore, just separating the integration. Therefore, what we have obtained, what is the left hand side? Modulus integration Fn, modulus integration Fn minus integration F, no doubt this is over E. We have proved this. Now let me try to evaluate both the integrations separately. Let me consider the first part of this statement, this integration on E minus A, right? Integration E minus on E minus A mod of Fn minus F, right? Now here steps was written directly, therefore here I have just elaborated. A mod of Fn minus F is less than or equals to mod Fn plus mod of minus F. Clear? Mod of minus F is mod of plus F. Therefore, let me take the integration on both the sides. Therefore, can I write integration mod of Fn minus F is less than integration mod Fn plus mod of F. But both the values, both the functions are bounded by the positive real number capital M. Mod Fn less than or equals to M, mod F less than or equals to M. Therefore, what about mod Fn plus mod F less than or equals to 2m? Therefore, integration mod Fn plus mod F is less than or equals to 2m, right now? Oh, sorry, this was an explanation for this, no? Here it is. Sorry, this was an integration step here. Let me explain this again. Integration on E minus A, mod of Fn minus F is less than. What is the value of mod of Fn minus F? We have written initially less than epsilon upon by which number? Let me give some equation number 1. Let me give this as equation number 1. This is the term epsilon upon less than 2 times me. If I have written less than or equals to epsilon upon 2 times me on measure of on E minus A. Wait. Epsilon upon 2 times me is a constant taken out. V remains with integration 1 on E minus A. What is integration 1? If I take Riemann integration, this is actually the length of the corresponding interval. But here the length in Lebesgue integration, we know already length is being generalized to measure. Therefore, what is integration 1 on E minus A? This is measure of E minus A, right? But we know E minus A is a subset of E. That's why what is the relation between measure of E minus A and measure of E? Less than or equals to. Therefore, let me substitute this measure of E minus A by measure of E. Therefore, it becomes measure of E. Therefore, epsilon upon 2 times measure of E into measure of E. Measure of E gets cancelled. V remains with epsilon upon 2. Let me call this as statement number 2. Now the same logic or finding the integration on A. Integration mod fn minus f on A. As of this I have discussed already. Integration mod fn minus f is less than or equals to mod of fn plus mod of f, where both the values are less than or equals to 2m. Therefore this integration is less than or equals to 2m. So let us just take this 2m out. We remains with integration 1 defined on it. What is its value again? Measure of A, right? No?
Yes,
Measure
ma'am.
of it. But what is this measure of A? We have written less than epsilon upon 4m. Now I think you have understood why it is epsilon upon 4m. Why we have taken measure of A strictly less than epsilon upon 4m. Because here we are getting a term 2m. If I take a multiplication, this becomes less than epsilon by 2. Right now, the previous one is also giving me a value epsilon upon 2. That's why here we have written mod of fn minus f in equation number 1 to be less than epsilon upon 2 times me. So whatever these terms we have written, this one and this one, instead of epsilon, simply we have written some different terms. No, this is just for the sake of making an adjustment. Combinedly, we wanted this term to be less than epsilon. Therefore, each term we have made less than epsilon by 2. On e minus 8 becomes less than by 2, less than epsilon upon 2. On e also integration becomes less than epsilon upon 2. Therefore, just put the values in the above equation. Therefore, what we were getting, modulus integration fn minus integration f is less than epsilon upon 2 plus epsilon upon 2, which becomes epsilon. What this is actually giving us, may I say integration fn now tends to integration f. Correct, na? Something
Yes, ma'am.
minus is less than epsilon, right? For all n greater than or equals to capital N, for all x in. What we have obtained, fn integration therefore this, as this term is less than epsilon, one can say limit integration fn is equals to integration, yeah, no doubt, on the set E. Hence the proof. Any doubt about this? If you want, you can ask.
No, ma'am.
Okay. What it was made done, these are two adjustments initially we have made, measure of A and this term. Okay. Then whatever this we wanted to prove, we have taken in the modulus. Right. If we take it in the modulus, the aim is to make this as less than epsilon. Rewriting that with jointing of two sets A and E minus A, we have separated and on the E minus and epsilon by add non-negative measurable function. Till now, we have found out the Lebesgue integration initially of characteristic function, then of simple function, then of bounded function. Now we are moving ahead towards the Lebesgue integration of a non-negative measurable function. Let us look at the definition. Definition says that let f be any non-negative measurable function, whether it is given bounded, yeah, not necessarily bounded, no, it is not given. Previously, we have seen the definition for the bounded function. What we have defined the integration of the bounded function? Let me write this. For a bounded function here, we have found two simple functions. Which two simple functions? Phi and psi, right now? Then supremum phi, supremum integration phi, if it is equals to infimum integration psi, then we were saying that the function f is integrable. Now we were dealing with the function which is not necessarily bounded. It was given simply it is a non-negative measurable function. Boundedness is not prescribed and it is defined over a measurable set E. Now if the function is not bounded, the question arises how to find out the integration. If I want to make use of the same definition, can we find this psi for a not bounded function? Yes. Can we find such a psi function where f is less than or equals to psi? For not bounded function, I am asking. What about this phi? Can you find
No, ma'am.
phi? Which function you can find, or can you find both simple functions of this type? Are you getting my question? If f is not a bounded function, it is an unbounded function, then is it possible to find out both the simple functions phi and psi, such that phi less than or equals to
No,
f
ma'am.
less than or equals to psi? Yes, it is no. Which function we cannot find, or whether we can not find both the functions?
We cannot find psi.
Yes. Hello. Which
We
function
can
I can
find
find?
phi.
Sorry, I'm unable to get your voice. This is not possible to find out such a psi, no? Because f is not
Yes,
bounded
ma'am.
function, right? If we cannot find out psi, but can we find phi? Yes, we can find a smaller
Yes,
function,
ma'am.
no? Yes, therefore it is possible for us to find out the function phi, which is less than or equals to f. But it is not possible to find out the function psi, as the function f is not bounded function. Therefore, we were now changing the definition for an arbitrary measurable function. We were going to skip this part, infimum integration sign. What is the definition say? Then we define integration f on E is supremum h. Supremum integration h less than or equals to f, where h is bounded measurable function. Where h is bounded measurable function. This h may be a simple function also. This h may be a simple function also. But as of we know the how to find out the Lebesgue integration of a bounded measurable function, we were writing this h to be a bounded measurable function. Therefore, skipping this right part of the definition, infimum integration side, we were using only the left part of the integration, supremum integration phi, right now? But this phi
Yes, ma'am.
is any bounded measurable function. Therefore, understood this definition?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Integration f over E is supremum integration h less than or equals to f, where h is any bounded measurable function. Or one can take h is simple function also. One can take h is a simple function also, because simple function is no doubt a bounded measurable function defined on a measurable set. Okay, this is what the next definition, the next important definition of Lebesgue integration of a non-negative measurable function. Okay, we were next some positions regarding the operations of integration again for any non-negative measurable functions. Same kind of preposition once we have proved a simple function. Then same preposition we have derived for f and g to be bounded measurable functions. Now we were deriving the same kind of preposition for non-negative measurable function. Means it may be a bounded function, it may not be a bounded function. Third time we are repeating the same preposition, right now? It's the third time right
Yes, ma'am.
now. Now to prove this, we can use the previous preposition used. Previous preposition proved. Which preposition we have proved previously? For bounded measurable functions we have proved, no? F and G bounded. Do you remember how many points we have proved? Bounded measurable, right? We have proved integration AF plus BG is equals to A integration F plus B integration G. What is the second point we have proved? F equals equal to
F is
almost
equals to G.
everywhere. Then integration are
Equal.
F equal to G almost everywhere. Then gives us integration F equal to integration G. Right? What is the next we have proved? A less than or equals to Fx. Na? This is I think. आज होता ना then A into measure of E less than or equals to integration F less than or equals to B into measure of E. Right? I think 5 steps we have proved. I forgot. One is this also, na? F almost less than or equals to G almost everywhere implies integration F is less than or equals to integration G. One more is there, you just see. Therefore, we have these preposition in our hand and we wanted to prove these 3 points again. Integration CF is C into integration F. Here C is given to be greater than 0. Integration F plus G is integration F plus integration F. Almost. Okay, let me start. First step I want to integration CF is C into integration F. Here also this is on E. Now, let me start. By definition, what is the definition? Integration CF depend on E supremum H less than or equals to F H. What H is? H is bounded measurable function, right? F is any bounded measurable function. Now, H less than or equals to CF, I can write as H by C less than or equals to CF because C is greater than 0, positive value. If I substitute H by C as K, what will be H? This is CK. Therefore, let me write this is as a K less than or equals to F, H replaced by CK. Therefore, let me just take this C out because for any bounded measurable function K, what this K will be again? Bounded measurable, no? Is bounded measurable function. Therefore, this is C can be taken out. Therefore, supremum C into integration K, one can write as C into supremum K, which is nothing but C into integration. Hence the proof. Same structure, no? Same kind of methodology of proving also.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we will prove this step number 2. What I wanted to prove in step 2, integration F plus G, I wanted to prove as integration F plus integration G. To prove this equality, we were trying to prove two inequalities going in the opposite direction. That is, one's less than or equals to, one's greater than or equals to. Therefore, let me find out two bounded measurable functions for every F and G. Therefore, let me find out H and K be the bounded measurable functions such that H less than or equals to F, K less than or equals to G. Therefore, may I write H plus K less than or equals to F plus G. Right? Therefore, what about integration F plus G as per the definition? If I call this as some L, say supremum L, such that L is less than or equal to F plus G, where L is a bounded measurable function. If it is true for the suprema, right, supremum L, L less than or equals to, this is a supremum value. Therefore, may I write this supremum value is greater or equal by any arbitrary value H plus K, provided H plus K is less than or equals to F plus G. Therefore, here I have written this is greater or equal by integration H plus K. But as H and K are the bounded measurable functions, may I write this as integration H plus integration K by previous proposition, right now? By previous proposition. Therefore, one part of the inequality, I have to take supremo. Now, if it is greater or equal by integration H, this integration H is greater or equal by its suprema as well. Therefore, just taking the suprema over all the bounded measurable functions, may I write integration H is greater or equal by supremum integration H. Integration K is greater or equal by supremum integration K. Therefore, I can replace this as integration FG is greater or equal by supremum integration F plus supremum integration K. Now, what is this supremum integration H? H less than or equals to F? Is it integration F? As per the definition. And this is integration G, right? This page came horizontal. This also. Just wait a minute. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll just rotate the page. Check, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Visible, no? I just
Yes,
rotate the
ma'am.
page. Okay, good. Where we were here up to this step, we were actually. Okay, integration. One part we approved of this inequality, right? That is integration f plus g is greater equal by integration f plus integration g. Now the aim is to prove the reverse part of the inequality. That is integration f plus g is less than or equals to integration f plus integration g. By taking h and k to be the two bounded measurable functions like this, We have seen already. We have seen already, and which gives us greater equal inequality. Now I will change the selection of these two measurable functions. Therefore, in the while proving the second part, now what I will do, L be a bounded measurable function defined on a set of finite measure. I'll write the definition of integration f plus g. If I wanted to write the definition of integration f plus g, we want a bounded measurable function L such that it is less than or equals to f plus g. Then what is the definition of integration f plus g? Is it supremum
Supremum of
integration?
integration L.
Very good. This is L less than or equals to f plus g. This will be a definition. Now we were defining the two functions h and k by f of x is equals to minimum. F of x, L of x. F of x, L of x, and k of x I am defining L of x minus h of x. See, this is a selection we were making for the two functions h and k. Please observe very carefully. Finally, we wanted to get h less than or equals to f, k less than or equals to g, but we were trying to find in another way. We were just trying to find out the functions h and k by another way. So for h of x is defined to be minimum of these two, f of x and L of x. K of x we have defined to be L of x minus h of x. Now, may I say h and k are bounded measurable functions? Because both f, here f is given to be, L is given to be bounded, no? L be a bounded measurable function. And f is not bounded, say, then what about the minimum of the two? Whether f or L, which value will be minimum if f is not
L.
bounded? L will be minimum, and hence we were getting h to be bounded, right? Now if h is bounded, L minus h, both are bounded now. Will give you k of x is bounded, right? Therefore, both h and k are bounded measurable functions. And let us discuss the two cases, a relation between f of x and L of x. What will happen if f of x is strictly less than by L of x? F of x is strictly less than by L of x. Then what is my h? H will be f of x. Minimum, no? If I am saying less than L.
Yes, ma'am.
And what about k then? Let us replace this h by f. L of x minus h of x. We wanted to replace, first let me replace L less than or equals to f of x plus g of x minus h I will replace by f of x. Therefore, f of x gets cancelled and we get this as g of x. Therefore, what kind of relation we have obtained? K of x less than or equals to g of x, right? Now, let us consider the second possibility. What is the second possibility? F x is greater or equal by L of x. What will happen if f of x is greater or equal by L of x? The value of h of x will be L of x.
L of x.
And what for k of x? L of x. H I am replacing by L again. Therefore, L of x minus L of x is 0. Right? But what about g? G is a non-negative function. Therefore, I can write this 0 less than or equals to g. And here, h of x is less than or equals to L of x. H of x is equal to L of x. But may I write L of x is less than or equals to f of x from this relation? So finally, what we have obtained? H of x is less than or equals to f of x. K of x is less than or equals to g of x. In the second case, in the first case also, h of x equal to f of x, k of x less than or equals to g of x. Therefore, one can have a conclusion for all x in E, h of x is less than or equals to f of x and k of x is less than or equals to g of x, right? Therefore, we have found h and k to be two bounded measurable functions which satisfies the same relation, h less than or equals to f, k less than or equals to g. Now, I will start with k. If L we have written, what is L, k from this relation? L minus h, no? K, I will start with L minus h. Therefore, what is L? K plus h. What is L? This is k plus h. Right? What is integration L? Integration k plus h. K and h are bounded measurable function. Therefore, it can be written as integration k plus integration h. What is the relation between integration k and supremum integration k? For k less than or equals to g. What is this relation? Is it less equal?
Less
Supremum is
equal.
always going
Less
to be greater. Therefore, this integration k is less equal by supremum integration k. Integration h is less than or equals to supremum integration h. Therefore, what is supremum integration k? Is it integration g? Supremum integration h. Which is h less than or equals to h, na? Is equal to integration here. Now to the left, let us take a supremum L. There is no necessary to consider supremum on the right hand side because we were running the supremum on a bounded measurable function L less than or equals to F plus G. Therefore, what is this supremum value? If arbitrary L is less than or equals to this term, what about the suprema? Actually, if arbitrary L is less than or equals to this term, therefore actually this is working as an upper bound, no? Upper bound of the set integration L. Therefore, upper bound is always less than or equals to least upper bound. Sorry, upper bound is greater or equal by least upper bound. Therefore, we have written supremum integration L is less equal by integration F plus integration. But what is supremum integration L? L less than or equals to F plus G. This is integration F plus G, and which we have proved integration F plus G is less equal by integration F plus integration G. Previously, we have proved greater equal. Therefore, combining both the inequalities, we got this is integration F plus G is equal to integration F plus integration G. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me go for the third. I'm going very fast actually. If you have any difficulties, you can ask me. Here we wanted to prove F less than or equals to G almost everywhere. Then our aim is to prove integration F less than or equals to integration G. For this, let us find out the bounded measurable function h, say h less than or equals to f. If I find h less than or equals to f, where f is less than or equals to g almost everywhere, then what is the relation between h and g? May I say h less than or equals to g almost everywhere? That is what I have written. H less than or equals to g almost everywhere. Now, let us consider the two sets. Collection of all h less than or equals to f. Collection of all h less than or equals to g. No doubt this will be a bigger set because f is less than or equals to g, a direct relation we know. Therefore, this is a subset. Therefore, let me just take a supremum on both the sides. Supremum h such that h less than or equals to f is less than or equals to supremum h less than or equals to g, and hence the proof holds. This part is very easy. Correct? Okay, all the three propositions we have proved. Only we have to make efforts to prove this second part of the proposition. Okay? If you have any difficulty throughout any of the part, you can ask me. Third time was same kind of proposition we were proving, right? Yes? Any difficulty in this proposition?
No, ma'am.
If not, let us go to a next important statement called as Fatou's lemma. Called as Fatou's lemma. First, we'll try to know some information about this Fatou's. Fatou's, the full name is Pierre Joseph Louis Fatou, French mathematician. The life tenure is 28 February 1878 to 9 August 1929, and he is known for Fatou's set and Fatou's lemma. We have Fatou's lemma for our study. Fatou's set will be there in your major and integration paper in your fourth semester. Okay, therefore it was really interesting to know about the mathematicians every time. Therefore, I suggest every student to just know about, because we get some inspiration from the life history of these mathematicians, right? Therefore, we'll try to understand what is Fatou's lemma. Proof is very easy. We can complete in 5 minutes. If fn be a sequence of non-negative measurable functions such that fn converges to f almost everywhere, then prove that integration f is limit infimum, right? No? What this symbol is for? Limit infimum integration fn. Limit infimum integration fn. Whenever we have a sequence of non-negative measurable functions, what about the sequence integration fn? This will be a sequence of real numbers, no? Because integration fn is going to give you some scalar value if it is integrable. And as the functions are given to be measurable, therefore may I say each function is integrable as well. Right?
Yes,
No?
ma'am.
Therefore each function fn is integrable. If it is integrable, integration fn is going to take some finite scalar value. Therefore sequence of integration fn will be a sequence of scalars, can I say, or sequence of real numbers? Right?
Yes,
No?
ma'am.
This is a sequence of real numbers, and we wanted to prove that integration f is less than or equals to limit infima of integration fn. What is limit infima? We have defined. Remember? Do you remember or not? I think there is a need to have a recall, na? So please recall those definitions. Okay, let me start the proof. What the proof says that since Lebesgue integration over a set of measures 0 is 0. Yes, any difficulty in this statement? Lebesgue integration over a set of measure 0 is 0 always. That's why we have written somewhere a note actually. Whatever is the function you take, if it is defined on a set of measure 0, integration is going to give you a 0 value. Right? Therefore, we assume integration fn converges to f everywhere on E. It is given almost everywhere, no? Right? Fn converges to f everywhere on E. Then our aim is to find out the bounded measurable function h, which is going to vanish outside the set E dash of finite measure. Let me explain this by a sketch. This is the set E. This will be say E dash. I'll draw the sketch at this below part. If this is the set E, E dash be the subset. Okay. What F we have defined? F we have defined to be converging. Fn converges to F everywhere on E. Means F is a convergent, or Fn is a sequence, convergent sequence to F on E. Then our aim is to find out a bounded measurable function. Bounded measurable function which vanishes outside the set E dash of finite measure. That is on this part. Outside E dash means what? This section, no? On this h is going to vanish. Going to vanish means h is going to take a value 0. H of x is 0 for all x in E minus E dash. Right now? Such that h is less than or equals to f and E dash is the subset. Therefore, for the function f, for this function f defined on E, we have found a bounded measurable function such that h is less than or equals to f and it is defined on E dash, and outside E dash this function is going to vanish. Going to vanish means it is going to take a 0 value. Therefore, let me define the function. This function hn of x as minimum of h of x and fn of x. H of x and fn of x. What will be a minimum of these two? Whatever it is, we will call it as hn of x. We will call it as hn of x. Therefore, what is hn? I am getting sequence of bounded measurable functions or not. Though fn is not given to be bounded. Though fn are not bounded. Suppose it is not bounded. Then if it is not bounded, which one will be minimum of the two? H will be minimum.
H of
right?
x.
And if it is bounded, which one will be minimum? Suppose f of x is minimum. Means in any case, hn gives me a bounded measurable function. If fn is not bounded, then minimum will be h of x. And if fn is bounded, then whichever gives you minimum. Means in both the cases, hn gives you a sequence of bounded measurable function such that hn converges to f. As fn converges to f, we were saying Therefore, as it is h is fixed value, therefore minimum is also going to converge to h. Hn converges to h on E dash. Why we were writing on E dash? Because outside E dash h will be 0. And what is the relation between Hn and Fn now? Hn is less than or equals to Fn. Correct, no? Hn is less than or equals to Fn for all n, and hence I can write Hn is less than or equals to h also for all n. Therefore, by the previous bounded convergence theorem, integration of h over E dash is equals to limit Hn over E dash. Thus now we have proved the bounded convergence theorem. First step, first lemma today's lecture. Therefore now I am going to find out the value this on E I wanted to find. Okay. Therefore let me start integration h over E. How can I write this E in two disjoint parts? Again E dash union E minus E dash, right now? E dash union E minus E dash. Again, as this is a disjoint union, integration h will be separated as integration h over E dash, integration E minus E dash over h. But what is this value? Integration h is 0. Outside E dash we have defined. Right?
Yes,
therefore, on
ma'am.
this part, integration is 0. Therefore, what we have obtained? Integration h over E is equals to integration h over E dash. Okay. And therefore, what we have a relation integration h. What is integration h over E dash? We have written integration hn over E dash. Therefore, here I can write integration h is limit integration hn over E dash. Now, what is the relation between limit and limit infima? If limit exists. If limit exists, we know limit is equal to limit inferior is equal to limit superior. Right now? Therefore, I have written limit integration hn is limit inferior hn on E dash. But we know less than f. Therefore, what will be a relation? Limit inferior integration hn is less than or equals to limit inferior integration fn. Okay, but what is this is over E dash. What is the relation on E as E dash is subset of E? This is again going to be less than. Therefore, what we have obtained integration h over E is limit integration h which is less than or equal to limit inferior integration fn. Limit inferior integration fn. Now, if we wanted to prove it for limit inferior, what should I take actually? Supremum I have to take on both the sides so that this left hand side integration will be integration. Therefore, taking suprema, this part is independent of h, no? We were taking the supremum over all bounded functions h less than or equals to f. Right side is independent of h. RHS is independent of h. Therefore, what will be a relation? Supremum integration h is less than or equals to limit inferior integration fn. But what is supremum integration h? This will be integration f. Hence the proof. No doubt you have to recall these proof, right? Then only it will be easier for you to understand. Okay?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have explained this Pattul's lemma in very simple manner. So please try to understand. If you have any difficulty, you can ask. Okay? Let me stop for today's lecture. And thank you for being with me for this lecture. If you have any difficulties, you can ask me. If not, I will stop here. It seems there are no difficulties. Let me stop for today. Thank you for being with me for this lecture.